Hi, good morning, everyone. Hey, I wanted to get back to you regarding the stuff we were doing with that intervention tracker, and it really wasn't working very well. It was a good intention, but I feel like it's going to be a disaster. It was already very, very messy trying to make sure the information that we had in there was accurate and correct. And the reason being is Office 365 is challenging in the way it filters and sorts information. And you have to be really, really careful when you're in there what sorts and filters are put on. And I just think that it is a system that we had in place or that I had put in place that was just wrought for errors. So we're not going to be doing that anymore. So I wanted to just kind of step through what the process is going to be moving forward for that. Every morning, just like I've been doing, I'm pulling the Microsoft form information and I'm putting it into a tracker where we will be able to see the student information, reason for why support's being requested, what kind of support is being requested, who's assigned to it, the date it was assigned. I will be the only one that's updating or editing any of that information. I will be placing, like we've done before, and I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick share. That will be placed in SharePoint like it has been right here. You guys can look at that information. I also will be sending every morning a list of any students that have been added to you directly. So students that have, for example, a request for learning coach support. Daisha will be assigned to that student. I will send an email letting Daisha know that new students have been adding to her classroom, and I will add the students to the classroom. That's going to go for everybody. So if there's any specific request, I will assign the intervention. I will place in your support classrooms. Your job then would be, you're going to have to track these students. And I know all of you have your own spreadsheets that you're using, so I know this isn't a new thing that I'm asking you to do. So find a method of tracking this information. It's not going to be any different than what we've done in the past. So keep your own spreadsheet, your OneNote, whatever that looks like for you, and just keep that kind of on the side. I always, last year, we never had this. I didn't need updated notes, right? I went into Total View, and that's where I looked at notes for students that you guys were supporting. So we're going to do the same method. If I have questions on a student, I'll go into Total View Notes. I'll look at the notes. If I have more questions and I need more specific information, I'll just contact you guys directly. So at this point in time, there'll be no more editing live in SharePoint. That will only be a tool for us to be able to see what students are in support, if that makes sense. So step 2 is I need to know at some time from your standpoint if a student is closed for support, if you know if a student's going to be withdrawn. So there's 2 pieces that I'm going to still need to have a mechanism from you all to be able to update this tracker correctly and show what kind of supports are still being provided or had been provided, if that makes sense. So I've created another form that, that we're going to utilize, if I can find out where I put it. So this is called, and I'm going to send the link in this email, a request for support tracker changes. So this is something that only you all will have access to this link. So this is only for our team to utilize to say, I've worked with this person or this student, and the student does not need support from us anymore. The student is doing well. We don't need to have that support, or the family made a choice to go someplace else, to find a way to another program to be successful, or we have to withdraw the student so they find a way to get support and have those excellent engagement and attendance habits someplace else. So there is a request for support tracker changes. The link is here. Again, pretty simple. Student ID I'm going to need to have, the last name of the student, the grade of the student. That'll help me make sure that I'm closing out the correct student. The date you're closing that student for support. If there's a withdrawal date, if you know the student's going to be withdrawn and you know the date of the withdrawal date should go in there. And then if you know what type of withdrawal it's going to be. If it's an administrative withdrawal, I'll probably be the only one to be using that, but it could be something that you know, potentially, Rana, that Veronica is going to be withdrawing a student for an administrative reason. Parent-initiated withdrawal would be the one that you guys most likely will be utilizing. You could also have an attendance withdrawal if you know the student's being withdrawn for truancy. So if you can complete that form, I'll look at this results every morning as well as the referral. I'm going to add and marry those two together, and then in our SharePoint area, you will then be able to see all of this will be updated in here, and I'm just going to open this document up so you can see where I will be the only one editing this document, and in this document we'll see information that who's it's assigned to, the assigned date, close date, withdrawal date. I will tell you, I made up some of these assigned dates to be very blunt, because I really wasn't sure if there were any, I wasn't really sure. I'm not as worried about the date of the assigned student as long as I know the student is being worked with. If you really are concerned about this assigned date that was put in there, totally fine with you sending me an email. Just send me a list of students, the student IDs, who, you know, who it's assigned to, which if you're sending me the email, I'll know it's assigned to you. And if you need me to change that assigned date, I'll go ahead and do that. Please don't do any changing because I think it just leads to issues within this tracker. So again, you're going to use the new Microsoft form to request changes, closes, you're going to withdrawals, anything like that, and I'll manage that piece of this. You're going to manage your students in your own way of tracking, and you're going to update TV and total view notes. I will go ahead and every morning update this with information based on new referrals that we get, and also any changes that you've requested to close referrals, or we know the student's going to be withdrawn, whatever that looks like. When you look at this document, and I've attached it as well, so you can look at the attached document, and actually let's do that. Take a look at what I've attached. That is what's been uploaded in SharePoint today. If you have changes to an assigned date, go ahead and change it right on that spreadsheet that I'm sending you and send me back the spreadsheet. Don't do anything in SharePoint. Let's just work with that spreadsheet today just to make sure it's cleaned up. So I'm going to say this. The spreadsheet is attached. Take a look at it. If there's changes to assigned date, like you're not happy with the date that I decided to make up, please change that yourself. Send me back that document, and I'll make sure all those changes are updated for tomorrow's spreadsheet. Again, I apologize. Good intentions, thought it would work okay, but it just very difficult when you're filtering and sorting. And if we have multiple people in that same tracker at the same time, there's just too many errors that can happen. And when we're dealing with this information in the data, I just want to make sure we are as up to date as we possibly can. Questions, please let me know. And from that, today, just go ahead and take a look at that and send me any changes that you need. Have a great day, everyone, and thank you guys so much for your patience.